Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. Someone told a man that he needed to buy a pet, so he went to the pet store and he saw a centipede. He scratched his head a little bit trying to figure out, well, he'd never thought about a centipede, but why not? So he bought the centipede, took him or her, I don't know how, home, and they got along well for a while, and then he thought, well, maybe the centipede needs some, about a man who bought a centipede for a pet, and they got along fine for a couple of days, and he thought, well, maybe the centipede needs some exercise, He wasn't sure how to handle a centipede. So he told the centipede, come on, we're going for a walk. And time went by, and time went by, and time went by, and finally the man said, aren't you going to go for a walk? And the centipede said, well, give me a break, I'm putting my shoes on. So we're going to move from the centipede now to the caterpillar. And a lot of you, I know, have read and talked about the analogy of the caterpillar and how it changes into the butterfly. So that's a wonderful, beautiful example of what transformation is. And we're going to talk about transformation, and I'm going to actually give you, I have some notepads and pens, and those of you who have something to write on, I'm going to give you some homework, if you choose, that will help us transform. Now, how many of you would like to change something in your life? Anybody? A couple of you?
About 20.
Okay. We're going to talk about that. If we keep doing the same things and expecting different results, it's called insanity. I think Einstein was the one that came up with that one. So if we want different results, we've got to be willing to do something different. Does that make sense? Yes. It does to me, I think. But you know what happens? I find myself doing the same old. Anybody here find themselves doing the same old? Okay, well, we're going to work on that. And I'm actually going to give you some things to do this week. So this is not come and listen to Dr. Nancy and go home and do the same old thing. That's not what this is about today. This is about each one of us being willing. Notice I didn't say able. Willing is the key word. Each one of us is able to change, but are you willing to change? That's it. It's the willing part. And sometimes we resist any kind of change. I work on myself sometimes, and if you want to practice this is just something you might want to do. Change where you put your coffee cups in your kitchen. Move them to a different cabinet and see how many days it takes for you to go to the new place where you put them. Because you see, we get locked into these old habits. We get locked in. And we have to let go in order to receive. See, if we want to receive, we must be in an open, receptive consciousness. And if we're holding on to whatever it is in our life, we're not open to receive. So we're going to work on opening to receive, deciding what it is you're willing to let go of. And if you're not willing to let go of something that no longer serves you, I challenge you to do some work around that. Anyone here have something in your life you're hanging on to that no longer serves you? It could be a relationship. It could be a job. It could be a memory. Maybe you keep thinking about something in the past, and that no longer serves you, whatever it is. You gotta let it go. Let it all go. And be in the present moment. Be in the present moment. You might consider yourself to be a caterpillar. Now, it's been said that when the caterpillar gets this yearning, I'm just assuming that caterpillars get yearnings, divine yearnings, to move into being a butterfly, there's this natural, innate instinct within them that guides them into doing what it is in order to be the butterfly. Each one of us has within us a yearning, I call it a divine urge. Or it could be a divine discontent. You see, it could be whatever you want to call it. You know that old song, I think Peggy Lee used to sing it, shows my age. Is that all there is? Have you ever thought that about your life? I go day in and day out. I get up, I eat breakfast, I go to work, I come home, maybe have a beer, a glass of wine, go out to happy hour, and then it's time for the next day. And that can get pretty boring sometimes. So we're going to shake us all up a little bit today and look at our divine urges. What is there within? Because you see, everything starts from within. We teach in this philosophy that everything comes from first cause. And first cause is our connection with spirit. So each one of us is a spiritual being having a human experience. Some people say a human being having a spiritual experience. Well, that could be true of some people. I would like for us to move into the thinking that each of us is a spiritual being right now having a human experience, and that everything in the universe is spiritually based. See, we don't have to create the energy of the universe. It's already there. But it behooves us to cooperate with it. And there are spiritual laws in the universe. And in order for us to transform, we must go along with them, just like the caterpillar must go along with the urgings to build a chrysalis. That's one of the steps. And then sort of fight against it. You know, it's like the little chicken and an egg. The chicken has to keep hitting that shell, and finally it breaks open. So I think we can look at our lives as moving from one shell to the next shell. There's no end to it, because we're always in this energy. And there's always more to do. There's always more to do to move forward. And when we feel that urge, that divine urge within us to move forward, that's a divine signal. I call it divine nudges of spirit. Spirit is saying, move on, come on, get going, get whatever it is off the back burner of your life and move forward with it. If we did not have the urge to do something, we wouldn't be able to do it. Think in those terms. Some people call it intuition. And when we get ideas, it's spirit telling us how to move forward into our greater good. But many of us, and I have done this, well, not now, I'm too busy. No, I got to catch that phone call. I've got to go out with somebody for lunch. I've got to do this and that and the other, and we just sort of put it off a little bit, And Spirit keeps saying, well, shall I give up on Nancy, or shall I keep bugging her? Shall I keep nudging her? So it seems that at some point, we either cooperate with Spirit, we either acknowledge being a spiritual being through the nudges of Spirit, or we get a nudge with a 2x4. That's the choice. That's your choice. You see, you cannot stay stagnant. There is only change. Change is the natural rhythm of the universe. Nature is changing now. We see it all the time in nature. Nature doesn't resist change. Can you imagine one of the trees that dropped their leaves just all of a sudden refusing to do that? Crossing their limbs and saying, I refuse to drop my trees, love my leaves this year. And if that were to happen, there would be no new leaves coming in the spring. You see, it's all part of the natural cycle for us to let go of things. It's just part of the natural cycle. And when we hold on to whatever it is that's not nurturing us anymore, we get closed fists. And we want open arms and open hands to receive the good that's waiting for us. So, when we feel the urge to move and we break out of the chrysalis, oh my gosh, this is a new world. Sometimes I'll do affirmative prayer for a specific change in my life, and then guess what? Things start happening. Changes start occurring, and sometimes it scares me because I'm looking at something different. I'm waking up in a different place, and you know what? Even though it's a better place, I'm not familiar with the better place. So one of my affirmations to myself is, I am comfortable in my new ways of living. See, we want to move up the spiritual spiral. And have you ever noticed how when you grow in certain areas, your friends change? You ever notice that? Some people disappear, but others show up. Well, that's because you're moving, I like to see it as a spiral. You're moving along an upper spiral in your consciousness. And when you move up, the people who are no longer there fade away. Because they're not in your same energy field. They're not in your. So when we grow in our spiral, people who aren't going to grow with us sort of stay where they were. And that's why some people disappear from your life. So expect new people to come in. New people who are on the energy level that you're moving into, you see. So that's one. So it's a good sign if you have different friends now than you had 20 years ago. That's a good, not saying that some people you had 20 years ago, but unless they're changing also, they're probably not going to be hanging around you. And you're probably going to lose interest in hanging around them. That's just how it happens. And I call this completion of relationships. Some people call it broken relationships. I call it completion. It's done. It's whatever this person and I had to learn from one another. It's done. I'm moving on. And sometimes that's pleasant, sometimes it's not so pleasant. But anyway, okay. One thing, and the main thing of this is we need to be willing to let go of whatever it is that does not nurture us. And accept the changes when they come. Okay. So, sometimes, I want us to be aware of this, sometimes we think, at least I do, I won't speak for you, you can either accept it or reject it, but sometimes I'll say, oh, that's just one little thing, that can't matter that much. I'll just let that one slide. And so I let that one slide, and then another one slide. And then I get in the habit of just being comfortable where I am. Fritz Perls, back in the 60s, wrote a book called In and Out of the Garbage Pail. And in it, he talks about sometimes we're so comfortable in our garbage, we know how it smells. We know how it feels when we squish it. We're just so comfortable in our garbage. And you see, we don't see it as garbage anymore. We just see it as our ordinary life. So we want to wake up. We want to wake up in consciousness and be conscious of the things in our life. Now, Ernest Holmes, who was the person that put together this philosophy, said, we do not change all of the patterns in a moment. So be patient with yourself. Don't beat up on yourself. Be patient. Rather, it takes place little by little until gradually the old patterns become transformed into new ones by some inner alchemy of the mind. Inner alchemy. The alchemist of old would change metals into gold. And that's what we would be doing, you see, through our mind. We don't see the operation, but we see the manifestation of what we're thinking. Do you know, if you think, well, what am I thinking? What's in my mind? Well, the easiest way I know to find out is look at your life. Whatever you see in your life is what you've been thinking. Like it or not. And this is true 24/7. It's there all the time. Whatever we're thinking about tends to manifest in our lives. So what's the lesson from that? Choose your thoughts wisely. Choose your thoughts wisely. Okay. I'm going to give you your homework for the week. Does everyone have a pen, or does everyone have, I had some pads here. Are they?
Everybody has one.
I don't think they do here. Are there any pads left with paper on them? Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Now, those of you who accept this assignment, I'll give you time to make a few notes. You know, to write the whole thing, but just a few notes to remind yourself. Okay. Now, the first thought is, order is the first law of the universe. When we bring order into our lives, universal good is given an open channel in which it can flow through and to us in an unencumbered way. And I must admit, that's a challenge for me. It is. But yesterday, I fixed a big bag of clothes that, with the seasons changing, so I had to find some warmer clothes. And in that process, I found things that I hadn't worn in years, so they went into the bag. And this is just the beginning. Okay, here's your spiritual practice. You're going to have a spiritual practice for each day of the week. All right, Monday. Choose one area of your life, in your physical space, wherever you are in your physical space. Clear out and bring one area into order. It could just be one drawer in a cabinet. Doesn't have to be the whole room. That's too discouraging. It could be one thing. It could be your glove compartment. Whatever it is, just one thing, and bring order to that space. Now, I already feel resistance. So go into that glove compartment, throw away all those old slips that say you paid your license. I know they're in there, because I had to clean mine up. So choose one area. It could be the top of your desk, a drawer, portion of a closet. You don't have to tackle the whole closet, but maybe, just a little bit of it. Could be the trunk of your car. Anyway, wherever there is clutter or discord, and don't tell me you don't have it in your life. I know better. One thing, just one little thing. It's part of the transformation process. And here's an affirmation to use. As I bring order into my life, I open the floodgates of universal good, harmony, and love. As I bring order into my life, I open the floodgates of universal good, harmony, and love. So as you're doing this, or in between doing it, that's a good affirmation for you to use. I open the floodgates of universal good, harmony, and love. Okay, are you worn out already from Monday? We're going to Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday. Here's the idea, and then I'll give you the affirmation or the practice. The idea is, while God does not forgive, self-forgiveness is a crucial component in our spiritual evolution. Self-forgiveness, for it brings to us internal order and a new level of availability. So the idea is to forgive ourselves, and the practice is spend 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, in prayer and a consciousness of self-love and acceptance. So you're forgiving yourself for anything that you think you're holding on to. It could be a grudge. Sometimes it's a resentment. One of my favorite definitions of resentment is taking poison and expecting the other person to die. So if we're holding on to a grudge of some kind, the other person doesn't know it. The other person's out living their life, and we're sitting there. They didn't. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. All right. So that's 10 minutes of self-forgiving, okay? Now we're moving to Wednesday. The idea is forgiveness. Yes.
Is there an affirmation with this?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Lily, I can always count on you to she keeps me in line no matter what we're doing. Okay. The affirmation is this: I fully and freely forgive myself and accept myself with love. I fully and freely forgive myself and accept myself with love. I set myself free. That's how to set yourself free. Everybody with me so far? Okay. We're moving into Wednesday. Just as self-forgiveness is a crucial component, so is forgiveness of others. Forgiveness of others. This is the theme for Wednesday. Practice is to spend 10 minutes in prayer in a consciousness of forgiveness regarding a person, an event, or a situation against which you find yourself harboring anger, upset, resentment, or whatever. How you can tell if you need to do this? If there's a situation in your life that keeps coming up for you, anybody have one of those? You just keep thinking about it and how someone done you wrong. That's a good signal, you see, that you need to do some forgiveness work.
Could you repeat that?
Okay, so the practice with this is spend 10 minutes in prayer and a consciousness of forgiveness regarding a person, an event, or a situation. Here's the affirmation. All that has offended me, I forgive. All that has offended me, I forgive. They are free and I am free. One technique some of my teachers shared with me in forgiving others is to visualize whoever the person is on a stage and see the audience showering them with blessings. and you're happy about it. You're happy about this person being showered with blessings. And then you go up on the stage with them, and the audience includes you in the blessings. So it's setting both of you free, you see. So that's just one technique that you could use if you choose to do that. Okay, we're moving right along into Thursday. Now, our philosophy teaches that we can't blame anybody else for our situation. Oh, what do you mean? I can't blame somebody else. I can't blame my teachers. I can't blame my ex-spouse. I can't blame my parents. I can't blame whatever. Well, who do I blame? Well, guess who? Our teaching is one of self-responsibility. We teach that everything, and notice I said everything, not some things, everything in our lives is a result of our consciousness. Now, what is our consciousness? Our consciousness is the sum total of our thoughts and feelings. That's our consciousness. So everything that occurs in our lives is the result of our consciousness. Okay, here's the spiritual practice, and this is sort of a long one, so you might want to just listen to it first before you take notes. Take the person, situation, or event you identified and apply the Hawaiian concept of Ho'oponopono. I'm not sure I said that right. How do you say it? Ho'opono. Okay. Which is to say, within your heart and mind, to the person, situation, or event, I love you, thank you. And for a deeper understanding, there's an interview there's this Dr. Lynn who this is a true story, worked in a Hawaiian mental hospital. And he did an experiment of, as he worked with the records of these people who were labeled mentally ill, as he worked with the records, he would say, I love you, I forgive you, thank you, for each record as he went by. He didn't even see these people. See, this is the power of your mind. This is the power of the presence that you have within yourself. He didn't even see these people, and pretty soon they started being dismissed. And he lost his job because he didn't have people in the ward to work with. Of course, he was very happy about losing his job. So this is just one example of how what we think has power. You know, there's a song about creating peace. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. And there are spiritual teachers who think the chaos that's going on in the world today is simply the reflection of what's going on within each one of us. And you might say, well, I don't think that's true of me, but stop and think for a minute. Is there any time during the day that you get upset? Either with yourself or somebody else? Or harbor any kind of feeling other than peace? You know, Martin Luther said, peace is not just the absence of war. It's actually a consciousness of love. It's that peace that passes all understanding. Okay, here's the spiritual practice. Well, actually, I think I already told you. Take this person and do, I love you and thank you. And then if you want a website for more information on that, I'll give it to you later after this is over. Okay, Friday. The affirmation, Lydia, is, through love and gratitude, I am returned to wholeness. Through love and gratitude, I am returned to wholeness. Just recently, Dr. Emoto, who worked with studying water crystals, he passed from this, made his transition to another plane of existence. He took photographs of water when love and gratitude thoughts were given to the water, and when words like hate were given to the water. And the water crystals actually changed, and he has proof in his photographs. This is quite an important study. Okay, let's move on to Friday. The spiritual idea is, love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. Love is the grandest healing and drawing power. And the spiritual practice is, notice where you have been nudged to reconcile with someone by taking responsibility for a misunderstanding. Write a note of love, appreciation, or apology, or to reach out with a helping hand. So if you notice some area in your life, you might just want to take some action. Send them an email of thank you, of appreciation, apology, whatever it is. Take some action. And the affirmation is, I'm strong and calm and centered as I deliberately take an action of love today. I deliberately take an action of love today. I'm strong. Okay, and then we move to Saturday. The spiritual idea is, keeping ourselves clear is a channel for God's love, light, and truth. It's an ongoing experience which requires our focus and attention. So we want to keep ourselves clear. We want to keep ourselves in tune with Spirit. And in doing that, we avoid the 2x4s. So really, you see, there's only two choices that we have. We can either stay in tune with Spirit or we get the 2x4s. So it's the choice each person has. The affirmation is, I'm a clear and clean channel for the power of God's love. Okay, let's go into a meditation. And if you have questions or want to have comments, see me after this, okay? So I invite you just to relax into being here. Relax into the divine spiritual being that you are. Pay attention to your breath. As you breathe in, feel that Spirit is breathing you. As you breathe out, I invite you to let go of anything that does not nurture you. Just let it go. It's okay. You don't need it. And go into that place within yourself that knows only peace, love, joy, opulence, abundance. And this place knows nothing of fear or doubt, knows nothing of lack or limitation. All of that we just make up. So we let go of all of those thoughts and we stay tuned in with Spirit. I invite you now to get clear about an intention you would like to plant in your life. One intention that you would like to plant in your life. Now see yourself taking that intention. See it perhaps as a seed, and you're planting it into the garden, the fertile garden of subjectivity, of universal energy. Universal energy all around us and always says yes. So you take this seed and you plant it into the subjective mind, knowing that it now manifests, knowing that the universe says yes right now. So this seed now grows. You see the manifestation. See yourself actually living in the manifestation, whatever it is that you've intended. See yourself in it, enjoying it, being it. And knowing now that it's absolutely here for you, release it. It's done. And in gratitude, say to yourself, and so it is.